Hello, my name's Matt and this is Pixel Burn, where I take a look at some of the more important, interesting or irritating things to have happened in the week's gaming news. Because I can't drink myself to sleep every night. Unlike whomever at Ubisoft wrote the script to this trailer for Assassin's Creed Rogue, formerly known by the codename Assassin's Creed Comet, and officially announced this week, albeit only after this very same trailer got leaked onto the internet first. That is, if you actually believe it was leaked and not just sneakily released by Ubisoft in advance to build hype, as is often the case these days.
Life's hardest choices are the ones that force you to question your own moral code.
Sweet Jesus, I wrote better lines than this when I was 14! Anyhow, Rogue's protagonist is a former assassin called Shay Patrick Cormac who defects to the Templars after his assassin brothers screw him over somehow. Cue Shay hunting down his former hooded compatriots from New York to the Arctic Circle, in a story set between Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Assassin's Creed 3, which reportedly ties into the story for Assassin's Creed Unity. As well as being the final game in what Ubisoft are calling the series' North American saga, Assassin's Creed Rogue is also the franchise's final farewell to the previous console generation. It's currently confirmed only for an Xbox 360 and PS3 release on November 11th. Besides the usual parkour nonsense, the game is confirmed to also feature the naval elements introduced in Assassin's Creed 3 and expanded upon in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Which again leads me to wonder why Ubisoft don't give us a proper non-Assassin's Creed pirate game like Sid Meier's Pirates. Come on Ubisoft, you know you really want to. You've said yourself there's no seafaring in Assassin's Creed Unity, so what else are you going to use this nifty naval combat engine for? Meanwhile, deep below the seas, 2K Games announced this week that BioShock, Irrational Games' aquatic critique of Randian objectivism, is being re-released as a premium price title, aka a comparatively expensive one, for iOS. You know, for iPhones and iPads. Touchscreen devices. To which any sane, rational person's immediate reaction would be why, followed by how. Specifically, how a game that utilised 2 triggers, 2 shoulder buttons, 2 analog sticks, a D-pad and 4 face buttons to play, is coming out on a platform for which the primary interface is jabbing at a glass screen with fat sweaty fingers. Like a cretin. I'm playing BioShock. Why? By cluttering the screen with virtual analog sticks and control icons, of course. And by scaling back the graphics to a level where the splicers resemble something out of Alone in the Dark. The 1992 version. Oh, but it'll support most iOS compatible Bluetooth controllers, so you can always plug it into your tablet or, God forbid, your iPhone, prop it up on a little stand and play it that way, without any of that extraneous crap like weapon icons, crouch toggle buttons, or your thumbs covering up most of the screen. So why not just play it on a fucking console or PC then? Alright, so you'll be able to play it on public transport, but why would you want to? Why, for the love of all that is sane, would you willingly choose to play an immersive first-person game like BioShock on a tiny screen on a crowded bus? It's not like the mobile versions of XCOM or Civilization, where the immersion comes from the strategic depth of their gameplay mechanics. Most of BioShock's immersion arises from its sound design, art direction, environments, dialogue and other elements all woven together into a delicate audiovisual illusion. An illusion all too easily shattered by a screaming child hopped up on sugar and E-numbers in the seat behind you. Now, I'm not saying big games cannot be successfully ported to mobile platforms, far from it. I'm just not convinced BioShock can. If we lived in a world where BioShock had not existed until now and it was making its debut as a mobile exclusive title, then this would be a lot more impressive. Instead, it just feels like a cynical cash-in, dreamt up by some executive nostrils deep in Colombian marching powder. And with the original BioShock still readily available for last-gen consoles and on Steam, this iOS version seems doomed to be stuck in its shadow. Something you might buy at a discount for the novelty value or to show off your new iPad to your chums with. You are of course free to try and persuade me otherwise, the operative word there being try. Continuing on the theme of remakes, Capcom declared this week that it's remaking the very first Resident Evil for PC, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360 and Xbox One. Well, not quite the first one. Capcom are specifically remaking the 2002 GameCube version of Resident Evil, which was itself a remake that just happened to strip out a whole load of what made the original PlayStation version so entertaining in the first place.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But Chris is...
Hey, Whisker, where's Chris?
Jill, no. You don't want to go back out there.
But we've got to find...
Which makes statements like this one really, really weird, because it's not the original game's atmosphere they're preserving. The original PlayStation version of Resident Evil was a carnival of campy, schlocky, B-movie grade nonsense that didn't take itself too seriously. If it had been a movie instead of a game, it would have been the sort that went straight to VHS in the 90s, found tucked away on a shelf in your local video store between Surf Nazis Must Die and Hell Comes to Frogtown. The so-called original being preserved here, on the other hand, is itself a remake, and one which Capcom deemed a commercial failure at the time for only selling 1.5 million copies. In fact, it's because of the GameCube remake that the entire Resident Evil series turned almost entirely away from survival horror for Resident Evil 4. A decision that eventually brought us the sub-Michael Bay action horror bollocks that is Resident Evil 6. On the bright side, at least this remastering of a remake drags the series back a little towards its survival horror roots, albeit as a literal step backwards. Yet even this is too bold and outrageous for Capcom, who've decided to make it a digital-only release in North America and Europe for PS3, PS4, Xbox One and Xbox 360. There will also be a limited boxed retail version on PS3, only available in Japan. At the moment, it seems you can't even swing a cat without hitting some sort of remake or remaster. We had The Last of Us remastered for PS4 and Fable Anniversary for Xbox 360, and now we're getting a new remastered version of Sleeping Dogs for Xbox One and PS4. Announced this week under the name Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition, this remastered edition for a new console generation includes all of the previously released DLC, such as the Bruce Lee-tastic Zodiac Tournament, and runs at 1080p with better graphical fidelity. The graphics won't look as good as this, of course, because this is from a live action trailer made to promote it. Well, it's a re-edit of the original live action trailer from 2 years ago, but I digress. While it doesn't show any gameplay whatsoever, it does still do a nice job, again, of conveying the feel and tone of Sleeping Dogs' Hong Kong action movie world. Stupidly, for a trailer advertising an HD remake of a game, it doesn't show off any in-game graphics at all. You'd think that'd be one of the main selling points, right? Nevertheless, for you lucky people, I've managed to acquire some exclusive footage of the definitive version of Sleeping Dogs, which I'm going to show you right now. Alright, so that's just the PC version running at 1080p with HD textures, obvious joke is obvious, PC Gaming Master Race and so on and so bollocks. This should still give you a decent idea of what you can expect from the Xbox One and PS4 versions. Sleeping Dogs is not a game without its flaws, but I love it all the same. The Hong Kong setting was a unique and interesting change from the environments of games like GTA, and I found the triad-focused storyline and characters interesting and compelling. Plus, how could I not love a game where you can smash people's faces into railings, hijack moving vehicles from another moving vehicle, and sing along to I Ran by Flock of Seagulls in a karaoke bar. So if you never took advantage of one of the countless opportunities there have been to pick it up for a pittance, and you're looking for something to pass the time before actual new games arrive on your console of choice, then Sleeping Dogs is a solid choice. Snazzier graphics aside, it will still be the same game however, so if you already own it on PC, 360 or PS3, you'll probably want to wait for the forthcoming sequel, Sleeping Dogs Triad Wars, instead. But then loads of people bought The Last of Us twice over, so what the fuck do I know? And I'm afraid that's all for this episode of Pixel Burn. Apologies for it being a bit of a short one, but this week's been a bit of a mad one for me. If you still liked it, however, then please do let me know, and let your friends, family and assorted loved ones know as well. At the very least, I hope you found it tolerable. If you didn't like it, however, then you can always look forward to the iOS remake. Until then, you can go now.